University of Texas Austin, they're just going to start out with Druid, and wow, what an opening Druid hand to have. I mean, just straight out the gates, Innervate Wild Growth. I mean, do you keep the Azure Drake in this situation?
It curves. I mean, that's for sure, but you have to, I don't know, it's tough to say, because you don't really know what warrior you're going up against yet. Yeah, you can assume it's Patron Warrior, but probably want a little bit more of a well-rounded hand, and Azure Drake's great for the cycle, but yeah, just picking up, just throwing away the, what? Yeah, they threw away just the Azure Drake. The Innervate just moved with the Spectator client.
Yeah, so this is really an interesting matchup to me, because ideally from the Druid side, you have to mulligan like it's a Patron Warrior.
Yeah.
It's the most common build of it. It's probably the biggest threat. I would say that Druid, with a slightly offhand, has a better chance versus a traditional Control Warrior than versus a Patron Warrior. You need to get on the ground running a little bit earlier than you normally would, and that is exactly the kind of mulligan you are looking for.
That is nuts.
That's some hot heat, TJ.
Yeah, you have Ramp. You also have Harrison Jones, which probably the best tech card against, the best card in general in the deck, mostly against Patron Warrior. And then, of course, ramping into Dr. Boom. Dr. Boom can be tough for Patron Warriors to deal with before they get to a turn where they can play like Warsong Commander, Grim Patron.
And even then, it's kind of dangerous because the Boombots always present that danger of picking off the key minions. Like, say they hit the Warsong Commander or hit the second copy of Grim Patron, and they're able to actually take it out. You know, that's the 50% chance there. If they take it out, that's great for them. But this opening from Duke, really what you're going to see here is whether or not their curve is going to balance out here, because they have turn 2 Wild Growth, and they have Innervate to make sure they get this Dr. Boom out a little bit early. But say on turn 5, they're looking at Deathbite, or they're looking at you know, something else. You know, if Deathbite's on the board, now you have to make the decision: do you want a Harrison Jones? Do you want a Dr. Boom instead? And so a lot of things kind of coming into consideration. And this is the danger of Druid when you have a hand like this: is that sometimes you'll pick up a Savage Roar. Suddenly your curve is a little bit uneasy. So there's a lot of great draws still in this deck, but they got to draw one first.
Yeah, and I mean, coming into as early as turn 4, they can innovate out the Dr. Boom. If Austin does pick up something that they can play on turn 4, like a Paladin Shredder, they're going to be in fantastic position, because if Duke did have a weapon, then they could just Harrison Jones to the next turn. If they didn't, then boom, you innovate out the Dr. Boom. All of a sudden, you're putting on so much pressure, and then of course that Savage Roar becomes a threat to push so much damage in just a few turns.
Yeah, really, ideally, any minion they can play without using the Innervate is a great minion draw here. I mean, even if it's something as weak as Darnassus Aspirant. Shadex Ramus, I think it's totally good enough. Of course, Emperor Thorson would have been okay. That will pick up
would have been decent.
The extra mana from that. But Shadex Ramus, I think you're more than happy with this at the moment. Austin's going to have to think about how they want to take care of this. And at the moment, not a realistic answer whatsoever. I mean, they have the Unstable Goal to kind of protect themselves, but they have one of those hands that is just going to try to dig for cards constantly as this game rolls on. So they're going to think through decisions like slamming their own Armor Smiths. They're going to consider playing the Unstable Goal right now, maybe just to kind of try to tempt out the Shade a little bit before things get out of control, because Duke's going to have to think about the same things. Once these Whirlwinds effects are on board, how does that affect Grim Patron? Because the last thing the Druid wants is for that card to be multiplying.
Yeah, Duke's hand right now is just all utility cards. And what you want is sort of a mix of utility cards and like weapons early on. Because right now, they don't have anything. So they don't really have removal. It's just all utility cards. So you're right, slamming their own creatures, having to use cards like Inner Rage and Whirlwind to maybe get more value out of Battle Rage. Things like that. It's a little bit rough of a hand to have early on, especially if they don't pick up ways to remove small creatures on the board early, because then they have to start using those combo pieces too early before those combos actually come out.
Yeah, 2 slams in hand, sort of a criminal act.
Yeah.
At the moment, I mean, you know, ideally this, you know, it's crazy to say. Ideally, I think it would have been a pilot and Shredder facing, so they could utilize the slam. But now in this situation, you know, once again, Duke is in that situation here where this Unstable Goal is presenting a problem, ironically, for the Dr. Boom, because you want the Boombots to get value. You don't want them to just be swept away in a whirlwind here. And so this is exactly what the Unstable Goal was trying to do: was tempt the Shade to come out of stealth and make it vulnerable.
Yeah.
Time waits for no one.
I mean, these are tough decisions early on for both sides.
It really is, but when you don't have anything to play, in this matchup, as the Druid, you sort of need to pressure the Patron Warrior. You can't give them time, or they'll take that time and they'll turn that into huge swings of damage later on in the game.
Yeah.
So right there, it's either, swiping the Armor Smith and then trading in, or just hero power passing, other than Innervate Dr. Boom. So I don't think there's really too much of an option. I think the big choice there was, like you said, whether or not to unleash the Shade on that Unstable Goal.
And that's really the big story of this matchup too, is that if you give the Grim Patron deck enough time, they will find a way to beat you. And that's
Yeah.
what makes the deck so powerful, is that sometimes your draws just don't have the ability to shut off your opponent's time. Sometimes you get draws that want to fight an attrition war.
Yeah.
In this matchup, you certainly can fight that attrition war, but again, every single turn becomes deadly. So, you know, obviously the Dr. Boom, it's tough to say this. You don't want to play it on turn 5.
Yeah.
But Duke is worried about execute. You know, they're worried about, you know, what if they just can remove it with a couple of utility spells? What if they can get value from it? It's just one of those situations where it's kind of like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah. I mean, Druids are one of the classes in the game that can go above 30 health, but it takes a whole heck of a long time to do so.
You only need about 7 or 8 hero powers in a row
without taking damage.
Yeah.
And that still doesn't bring you very far out of range.
Yeah, so second slam is going to be the play here, and I dare say they're not going to use Whirlwind in the spot. Dr. Boom is going to crash for 7 points of damage, but once again, Duke draws, you know, relatively dead here. I actually wouldn't even be surprised to see this Wrath get cycled.
Yeah.
You know, obviously this is a card you would love to use in your opponent's minions.
Yeah.
But they just need more action right now. They are lacking in relevant minions to play.
I mean, Savage Roar ends up this turn being just straight up 8 damage.
Yeah, and
so
honestly,
that's an option too.
Yeah, and honestly, this is a turn where I can totally see Savage Roar being used. But at the same time, if you're going to use Savage Roar, you know, then you're choking off your potential to actually get a minion this turn. So their idea is going to be, do I want to balance anything? Do I want to try to find another minion? Do I just want to get the 8 points out of Savage Roar right now? You know, this card's often coupled with Force of Nature. Coupled there, it's 8 points damage anyway. You know, you could just take it now if you wanted to. Maybe you don't want to use Force of Nature in couple with Savage Roar. So they are going to take it now. And I like this. This is the kind of play I feel like you're going to often see from the collegiate players, is they're going to do the math and figure it out and go, you know what? We're getting 8 points damage.
8 damage.
Now. Let's go.
Do it.
Yep.
Yeah, especially, you know that, you said with Force of Nature, I mean, it's going to be 8 damage anyway. But putting it on early means that you force that mindset into your opponent. Duke's looking at this like, wow, if he Savage Roared that turn, what kind of damage does he have backing this up? You have to play probably inefficient. You have to play a little bit defensively. And all of a sudden you play defensively and...
Yeah, I mean, defensively is not the way you want to be playing for the most part. I mean, ideally you want to be taking initiative and really rolling through the game, being the ones in the position of power.
Yeah. If you play defensively as a Patron Warrior, all of a sudden you're in a position where you don't have the combo pieces that you use to play defensively with, to make bigger combos later on in the game. And Druid, even though Druid you don't want to give Patron Warrior a lot of time, Druid is also a class that can put you on a clock.
A fight! Count me in!
All right, so it's going to be Grim Patron, Enrage, and the Whirlwind afterwards. They're looking for these boombots to multiply these Grim Patrons, which, again, the dangerous situation here is they've already taken so much.
Yeah. So these boombots could be pretty devastating. If he's left with only 2 Grim Patrons at the end of this turn, he's going to be sad. Oh,
well,
pretty fortunate there.
I can tell you what, this damage is about to all get aimed upstairs, TJ.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at this. He's got Force of Nature, Swipe. Just
yeah, I think you just go for it.
Force of Nature face.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you just take this all upstairs, I mean, the Force of Nature's 6 more damage here. And the Dr. Boom's already gotten in 9 points of damage, plus the Boombot damage that was dealt in addition to that Savage Roar. You couple that with Force of Nature, you are looking at massive early damage. I mean, this is turn 6. They wild growth in this game. And this is the kind of position that you want to be putting Grim Patron in, is where you just have too much for them to deal with. It's just overwhelming. This deck doesn't play well on defense when you're presented with heavy threats. You know, they don't have Shield Slam, there's not big game hunters. They're working as a combo deck, so that kind of relentless aggression, almost a reckless style, is exactly how you want to be, I feel like, most of the time.
Yeah, and they're going to think about it for a while here, but I think they're going to come to the same conclusion that we did.
Yeah, there's just really no options with his hand. Again, they don't have any relevant minions. They're facing down Grim Patron damage. They say, let's go. Austin,
rock and roll.
They're going to need something here.
They need an Armor Smith, a shield block, something that's going to gain them extra armor.
That's not going to do it. I mean, they're going to have to, I think they have to use Battle Rage first.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 cards. Here we go.
There's going to be some big draws here. Shield Slam is not going to... Whoa!
Here's the thing. They do have a Shield Slam in this deck, but, you know, again, this deck doesn't do a great job at getting a ton of armor in it.
Yeah.
And that's going to do it. They're sitting at 4 life. Guess what? Swipe happens to deal 4 damage.
Exactly. They even have enough mana for a hero power. So it looks like Duke is going to just point that swipe right at the face.
Pilot Shredder shows up just in time. He says, put me in, coach!
Nope. Sorry, Pilot Shredder.
Yeah, you're going to sit on the sidelines.
Not today.
Yeah, even the Grim Patrons want to come out and play.
Yeah. And we had a little bit of a class icon mix-up, but that was Austin playing the Warrior and Duke playing the Druid. So that is Duke taking game number 1 victory.